And that's why we're here today, because we're all about gaining, leads and followers. I want to talk about followers in a second, but did you want to mention something about the handles, the ats, how that kind of works?
So what they've done in here, because they're obviously overlapping with Channel 7 in this regard, they mention not only a hashtag, but the Channel 7 handle. So two reasons that's important. Number one, Channel 7 gets notified that Westpac's made a piece of content mentioning them. Number two, as you can see, we can hover over the top of that and see more about the other organisation they mention. And three, we could click through to that organisation. Now, if that happened to be, and now let's talk business levels that aren't, statewide or countrywide and smaller than that, you want to engage, you could follow exactly the same path immediately. You could follow that account.
Yep.
So as you remember,
177,000 of them.
True. So we'll be one more of 177,000.
One. Yes.
But you could start to follow their account. Now, the time to, when you find an account you really like, have a new list or create a new list on the spot that puts them in a category that you think is useful to you. So you might put them in news networks.
Be your own, or PR potential, or media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Create your own category and put that account, like you saw before, into that list at the time you do it. That way, when you're looking at the feed in that list only, you are removing all the noise, all that other tweet conversation, and you zero in every day on the ones that are highly relevant for that occasion.
So just to recap on that then, so if I'm putting a tweet out, because we kind of need to get onto that as well, if we're putting a tweet out and we mention someone like Richard Wolf or Channel 7, we should use your handle in that tweet.
If that person exists on Twitter, invest the 2 minutes it takes to find that ID.
Yep.
It may be on their email, it may be on their website, it may be in some other place that you can find it easily enough. You could even do a search within Twitter and double check that the ID you find looks right. Check a couple of their last tweets. Then when you know you've got the right Twitter handle, type it in. It will, auto-populate if it can find it for you. And then make sure after you tweet that it in fact is the one you thought you were sharing. Tweet, mention the people in the tweet, then check your result. And if it's wrong, delete it, do it again. Because it's a golden opportunity to engage with people at first instance just through Twitter. And as I say, if you're lucky, if you invest the time, sometimes you'd be very surprised the level that you'll reach on Twitter in that method.
Okay, so let's touch on followers. So now we've sort of set up the account. We've got some lists going, and we're starting to hear. So as you're saying, listen before you speak almost. So really build that up. So how do we go about creating some followers? What would be your process for getting some followers now to our account if we didn't have any?
Number one, when someone comes to your account, as I said at the outset, make sure your profile photo is there, not the standard, a default image. Make sure you've got a small bio with a link to your web page and so forth. Even if you've only got a LinkedIn profile to begin with, because it's your own account, your own profile, LinkedIn, so long as your LinkedIn is then good if they go to it. The idea it is about buying credibility with effort. In other words, or creating credibility with effort. If someone comes to your account because you might have followed their account, they're notified, they might be interested to know who followed them, or you mentioned them, or you like their content, any of the things we mentioned. Once they've found your account, if the track record there is good, the photo is good, the bio is good, the things that you're sharing on Twitter look, like they're on target for your sort of what you're saying in your bio you do, there's an excellent chance that person will follow you at that point. They may not follow you that day, but down the track, that week, that month, if you have a purpose to engage with that person because they're in a similar industry or a vertical industry above or below your own, or a sister industry, basically they have a purpose on Twitter as well. They want to grow their community, and they don't want to grow it with people that, just follow their account willy-nilly. They want to follow and be followed by other organizations, other people that have a common interest in business.
So it's a little bit different to LinkedIn, isn't it? Because LinkedIn, you can ask for connections, you can request a connection, but with Twitter, you can't do that. You follow somebody, and then they may follow you back, or you retweet their content or engage with them, so eventually they follow you because of that. Is that correct?
That's right. In LinkedIn, we're familiar with the fact that unless you know the person, it makes it very hard to connect with them. You can follow their account, a little known trick to do, different day, but you can follow people's feed in LinkedIn. You just can't necessarily connect with them at a first degree. You can't request unless they want that, essentially. Now, on Twitter, it's the opposite. It's exactly the opposite. Everyone on the planet can follow your account if for any reason they wanted to. Now, of course, not every follower is somebody you want. For whatever reason, they may be an account that seems to have content you don't like. You can block that account, so you can see their content. If you're not happy that someone like that, using that type of content is the person you want, following your account or trying to connect with you, simply block the account so there's, nothing like that bothers you the next day. In other words, for the 99%, you won't even be worried about who follows your account. They're following. That's pretty harmless. So, yep, it's definitely a great way. Now, people are pretty busy. They're not going to follow that many accounts freely anymore, because once they follow a few hundred, it's pointless. Their account feed becomes cluttered. So you've got to stand out so that they want to follow you, and, that means you've got a better chance of being seen in their Twitter feed.